All right, today we're diving into an agency that's supposed to be our shield when things go very, very wrong, the Disaster Management Center. But a really damning new performance review just dropped, and it paints a picture of an agency that's, well, completely in crisis.
You know, it's a question you hope you never have to ask yourself. When the floodwaters are rising or the winds are howling, you count on someone, some system, being ready to step in and protect you.
Well, that's supposed to be the Disaster Management Center, but according to its own official 2024 audit, the very system designed to keep us safe is broken, totally inefficient, and basically failing at its one job. So, let's get into it.
So, the first thing you really need to get about this audit is its overall grade. And spoiler alert, it's not good. The Auditor General kicks things off with a major warning sign right at the very top of the report.
That warning is something called a qualified opinion. Now, in the accounting world, you got to understand this is a huge red flag. It's the auditor basically saying, look, we can't sign off on this. We just can't trust the numbers.
And here's the kicker, right from the report itself, that little phrase right there, except for the effects of the matters described. That's everything. That's the alarm bell. It means there are serious problems that totally undermine the whole financial picture. So, of course, you have to ask, what are these matters that have the auditor so worried? Well, let me tell you, when you dig in, it reveals a pattern of financial mismanagement that is just staggering. So let's follow the money, right? But when you do, you don't find some neat, organized system. Oh no, the audit uncovers just pure chaos, riddled with basic mistakes and really questionable calls. And look at this. The thing that's so wild here is how basic these mistakes are. This isn't some super complex mastermind fraud. We're talking accounting 101 failures. They're getting their inventory wrong, leaving a billion-rupee building off the books, not collecting money they're owed. This tells you it's not just a one-off oopsie. It's a complete systemic breakdown. And this right here is a perfect example of the mess. The audit finds they paid over 19 million rupees for a road that wasn't even finished. But check out the response from management. They're arguing about whether the project was 70% or 75% done, totally missing the point. The auditor's like, guys, it's simple. Just check the work before you hand over millions.
And here's the thing you have to remember. This isn't just about boring spreadsheets and numbers. When the money is this messed up, the actual real-world projects, they're doomed to fail. Okay, so let's see what this financial chaos actually looks like on the ground. We're talking about projects that were supposed to save lives, but have instead become monuments to just wasted money. Okay, get ready for this, because this slide is just a wild tale of incompetence. On the left, a huge contract to fix 77 tsunami warning towers. Think about that. 8 years and nearly 135 million rupees later, and not one single tower is working. Then, on the right, they spend 43 million to turn a stadium into a relief center. But it ends up being a relief center that can't, provide any relief. And no, this isn't just a couple of bad apples. The audit flags a clear pattern. 10 big projects, costing more than 278 million rupees over 13 years, have either completely failed or are just sitting there totally unused. I mean, that is just an incredible track record of failure. You see this much failure over and over again, in finances, in projects, you know there's something rotten at the core. It's not just bad luck. So what's really going on here? What's the root cause of all this? Well, the audit points to something you can't really put on a balance sheet. A culture of just doing nothing. A total lack of governance and action, starting right at the very top. Just look at this timeline. It's unbelievable. The main law they operate under hasn't been touched in almost 20 years. And the big council that's supposed to be in charge, they haven't even had a meeting in over a decade. Seriously, how is an agency supposed to function, let alone adapt like this? And that paralysis, it trickles all the way down to the staff. The place is practically a ghost town. It's supposed to have almost 500 people, but it's running with just over half of that. That means nearly 40% of jobs are empty. The whole agency is just hollowed out. And it gets even crazier when you look at who's actually in charge, or who isn't. Key admin jobs have been vacant for years. You've got top director jobs filled by military officers who are just temporarily attached, not necessarily experts in disaster management. And then there's this. They hired someone for a key engineering job who didn't even have the required degree. They're not even following their own rules. So let's recap.
We've got financial chaos, projects that are total failures, and a culture where nothing gets done. But this isn't just some boring story about bureaucrats messing up. There is a very real and very scary human cost to all of this.
Okay, look at this number. Over the last 13 years, the center has burned through 3.4 billion rupees. That's a massive amount of money, all of it meant to keep people safe. Which brings us to the biggest question of all, right? After all that spending, all those projects, and this entire agency's existence, are people any safer? Has any of it worked? And the audit's answer is a hard, catastrophic no. In fact, in just the last 2 years, the number of people getting hit by floods and high winds hasn't just gone up a little bit. It's gone up by 5 times. 5 times.
And that's not me saying that. That is a direct quote from the report. Let that sink in. So after all the money, all the projects, the human cost of disasters is actually getting worse. A lot worse. So look, this audit isn't just a bad report card. It's a blaring 5-alarm fire bell. It shows us an agency so fundamentally broken, it can't do its one basic job. Which leaves us with a really sobering question to think about. With this system in shambles and billions down the drain, how prepared are we for the next big one, the one that we all know is coming?